Aegon wanting to kill Aemond, Daemon in the Reach, Corlys telling Daemon to decide what he wants from the war. There are a lot of things that stand out from the second trailer of House of the Dragon's third season. Things that give a bit more context to George R. R. Martin's quote about why this show is no longer his story. In this video, I want to discuss all these things with you, explaining exactly why they deviate so much from the source material. But first, let me just remind you to hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Doing so helps the algorithm boost my videos so that they can be recommended to other people on the platform. So if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos in the future. Now, let's break down this trailer and explain exactly why it deviates so much from the source material in Fire and Blood. One of the first things that stood out to me about this trailer is the fact that Corlys Velaryon seems to be urging someone to decide what they want from this war.
All that remains is for you to decide what you want from this war.
At a glance, it seems like he's saying this to Daemon Targaryen. The person that he's speaking to is wearing the same armor as Daemon, and his braid matches the style of Daemon's in another scene. Therefore, I'm confident that Corlys is talking to Daemon in this scene. But my question is, why is Corlys still asking this question at this point of the story? Why are these characters still uncertain about their motivations for the war so far down in the narrative? In Fire and Blood, by this point in the narrative, this question has already been asked and answered, and Daemon's motivations are very clear. He's clearly very cunning and politically ambitious, so he wants power by any means necessary. That's arguably why he marries Rhaenyra in the first place, and that's certainly why his enemies feared him so much. It's said that during the Green Council meeting, Otto Hightower stated, "Make no mistake, should Rhaenyra ever sit the Iron Throne, it will be Lord Fleabottom who rules us, a king consort as cruel and unforgiving as Maegor ever was." Daemon's political ambitions are crystal clear in the novel, and he even confirms them himself when he speaks with Corlys Velaryon. In Fire and Blood, he makes it clear that he intends to kill his enemies, fighting and scheming to ensure that Rhaenyra's reign is secure. He says, the war will end when the heads of the traitors are mounted on spikes above the Kingsgate, and not before. This statement actually echoes Rhaenyra's own words to Grand Maester Orwell, where she tells him, "Tell my half-brother that I will have my throne or I will have his head." The fact that both Rhaenyra and Daemon were so intent on killing their enemies and taking the throne, and the fact that they both gave similar statements within the same period, insinuates that they were both on the same page at this point in the story. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for Corlys Velaryon to be asking this question in this scene. Which is why I ask, why is Corlys still asking this at this point in the narrative? Realistically speaking, no one would be on Rhaenyra's side if she and Daemon were still uncertain about the answer to this question. No one would risk their lives for an unclear cause, and no one would respect an indecisive commander.
What would you have me do?
The value of a sword is not within its scabbard.
That's why in A Game of Thrones, when Robb hesitates to commit to a battle strategy, Catelyn tells him, "Be certain, Robb, or go home and take up that wooden sword again. You cannot afford to seem indecisive in front of men like Roose Bolton and Rickard Karstark. Make no mistake, these are your bannermen, not your friends. You named yourself a battle commander. Command." By this logic, it wouldn't make sense for Rhaenyra and Daemon to be so uncertain and yet still have so many devoted allies. That's why in the book, they are already on the same page before they start going around gathering them. Therefore, Corlys' question in this trailer is very concerning because we're too far into the story to still be asking it. By now, this question should already have a clear answer, and we should only be dealing with the destructive consequences of it. The fact that it's still prevalent tells me that this might be another season where Rhaenyra goes through the narrative without a clear motivation, and therefore without any agency. There's another scene in the trailer where Aegon clearly states that he is going to kill his brother or die trying.
I'm going to kill my brother or die in the attempt.
In the book, The Dance of Dragons is a civil war between Aegon and Rhaenyra, in which Aegon is very intent on killing Rhaenyra before she kills him.
If I am to take the throne, I must put an end to the opposition. I must take Aegon's head.
One of the sole reasons why Aegon decides to be king, despite his initial hesitance and ambivalence, is the fact that everyone around him has convinced him that if he doesn't, then Rhaenyra will kill him and his family. This is what Sir Criston Cole says when he finally finds him and persuades him into doing his duty. He says, whilst any true-born Targaryen yet lives, no strong can ever hope to sit the Iron Throne. Rhaenyra has no choice but to take your heads if she wishes her bastards to rule after her. This passage goes on to say that it was that, and only that, that persuaded Aegon to finally accept the crown. This means that Aegon's motivation to take the crown comes from the belief that he must fight and kill his sister before she can take the throne and kill his siblings and children first. That's his sole motivation for fighting this war, and it probably becomes stronger after Rhaenyra and Daemon actually send assassins to kill his children.
My son is my legacy! My son is heir to the Iron Throne! What? Is there any question who did this? Who would do this save the bitch queen of bastards? The smug cunt of Dragonstone! There she sits across the bay on her rock, laughing at me. She's fucking laughing at me!
The murder of his son by his sister no doubt proves that Sir Criston's words are true, and therefore it strengthens Aegon's resolve in fighting the war. But that doesn't seem like that will be the sole motivation of Aegon's character in the 3rd season of House of the Dragon. On the show, it seems like Aegon's sole motivation is to get revenge on Aemond and kill him for burning him during the Battle of Rook's Rest, which is something that never happened in the novel. This is as a result of the show deviating from the source material and making Aemond burn Aegon during that battle. It's changes like this which have created a butterfly effect that has led to lines like the one that we're hearing in the trailer.
What I call the butterfly effect, which I'm sure, you know, being the audience you are, you all understand because you've read Ray Bradbury's The Sound of Thunder, you know. You step on a butterfly in the Pleistocene and it seems very minor, but suddenly you return to the future and all of human history has changed because of that butterfly. A small change can produce large changes later on.
This line changes so much about the story because it means that Aemond is no longer fighting for his brother's rights, and Aegon is no longer focused on defeating Rhaenyra. Instead, Aegon is more focused on killing Aemond, which changes such a fundamental aspect of his character from the novel. It completely changes his motivations, and overall, the entire premise of the story. The question now becomes, is this story about Aegon getting revenge on Aemond, or is it about Aegon and Rhaenyra fighting for the Iron Throne? The fact that this question even has to be asked at this point of the story is proof that George R.R. Martin was right to say that this is no longer the story that he wrote in Fire and Blood. In the trailer, there's a little snippet of a woman screaming while she's giving birth, and by the looks of things, this most likely is Helaena. This scene is most likely depicting Helaena giving birth to MAELOR, her 3rd child and 2nd son overall. Now, according to the novel, MAELOR is actually supposed to have been born already, but Ryan Condal planned to exclude him from the story entirely. In a blog post that he's since deleted, George R. Martin said that this decision was one that he argued against, but Ryan told him that it was necessary because kids that young will inevitably slow down production, and there would also be budget implications. Moreover, Ryan assured me that we are not losing Prince MAELOR, simply postponing him. Queen Helaena could still give birth to him in Season 3, presumably after getting with child late in Season 2. Although I think that Ryan Condal initially meant to exclude MAELOR from the story completely, It's possible that the scene from the trailer is actually him changing his mind and keeping his promise to George after all. It's no secret that he and George are not in the best of terms right now, with George even doing an interview where he described their relationship as abysmal. According to George, this was as a result of Ryan Condal completely ignoring all of his notes and suggestions for Season 3 of House of the Dragon. But now it seems like Ryan is actually trying to correct some of that by actually applying George's notes after all. The inclusion of MAELOR into the storyline means that we'll get the burning of Bitterbridge after all, and that means that Helena's death might also have a purpose. That was another thing that George R. R. Martin criticized for the third season, that Helena's death seemed to happen for no particular reason. There is no fresh horror, no triggering event to overwhelm the fragile young queen. But if Ryan does include MAELOR into the third season, then maybe there might be a reason for her death after all. Maybe this can at least fix the conclusion of Helena's storyline, but it will all depend on how well the writers execute it. The main question for this inclusion is it too late, and will it be handled properly? What did you think about this trailer? Does it give you any confidence that this season will be good? And how do you feel about the scenes that are depicted in it? Let me know down below in the comments section, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace.